Hi and welcome to TEC Bike Parts. As promised, we're going to show you a video now about the new S&S camshaft in the Royal Enfield 650 Interceptor. As we mentioned previously, we have been doing some tuning work on this bike with exhausts and various other methods of making these bikes go quicker. And we have now fitted the cam into the bike and done a dyno run. Well, we ran it in first and we've done a dyno run on it. Now, originally with the bike, I think it was something when we dyno run the totally stock bike, it was about 43 or 44 brake horsepower at the rear wheel. We managed to get that up to about 49.5 with the standard exhaust system. We were hitting a brick wall with the standard exhaust system with the high flow silencers on and high flow air filter, because the front pipes were quite restrictive and they do have a cat halfway down them as well. So we went away from that and we went to this exhaust system, which instantly took us up to 53 brake horsepower with a totally stock bike, apart from a high flow air filter. Again, we're hitting a brick wall because the bike wouldn't rev at the top end, the camshaft wasn't giving us enough lift. I'll show you the cam that came out of the bike and the new S&S cam. For comparison, you can see in particular the new S&S cam, apart from just having more lift, it also has a lot more duration. That means the valves stay open longer, and you can see it's a very high quality item as well. Now also with the S&S cam you get some spacer shims. Now a lot of people think, oh, shims, that means for the valve adjustment. No, these spacer shims actually fit underneath the valve springs, to give a bit more tension on the valve springs to stop valve bounce at higher revs, and that also helps with the revability of the motor. It revs right up the red line now, much more urgency than the old cam. It really struggled at the top end, the top cam, and you will feel the difference. The bike is much buzzier with this cam in, but more of that in a moment. Now, we did make the decision to fit the cam without taking the head off. Now I did do a video of it, but it was very disjointed, and a lot of the time I forgot to switch the microphone on when I kept stopping and starting, so there was no sound on it. So what I'm going to do now is I'll show you a few snippets of the bits of the fitting video, just so you get the gist of it. It's basically as per the book. We didn't use the factory tools because you don't need them basically. I just made up a small locating peg for locating the timing on the clutch side here, and I just used a bit of flat mill bar, 5mm bar, sorry, to locate the cam against the head, so you could tighten the bolts up. That's all that's needed. You don't need to use any special tools whatsoever. Basically, you follow the instructions in the workshop manual, which is free. We'll put the link onto the free workshop manual, and also you do get some instructions from S&S, but they tell you to take the head off. Now, I'm not saying that don't take the head off, because I think it's necessary to take the head off and clean the ports out. But I wanted to do a run before we cleaned the ports out, just to see what the cam alone did. Now we're going to show you the dyno output sheet now for the cam, and as you'll see, maximum horsepower has gone up to 57 brake horsepower, which is pretty respectable. But what it has done is completely changed the characteristics of the motor and the bike. It's much revier now, and you use the 6-speed gearbox really as it was designed to be. You're buzzing the motor through the gears. It feels a completely different bike. It feels, I hate to say it, it feels a bit more Japanesey, but it hasn't lost its character, don't get me wrong. It has actually lost a little bit of torque low down. We did have a torque peak with just this exhaust on it and the standard cam of 55 pounds-foot, and I think we've lost a couple of pounds-foot, which is normal when you put a high-performance cam in. You will lose a little bit at the bottom to gain at the top, but if you want to ride it fast, I think the trade-off's worth it. The engine feels much more efficient and buzzy and revier. But if you're the sort of person who just likes to ride along at 3000 RPM and likes to ride the wave of torque, really all you need to do is just change the exhaust system, and you'll get this massive wave of torque. Now, the extra power at the top end, like I say, it's not to its full potential yet, because we need to take the head off and clean the ports up. and it'll be interesting to see when we do that what it does. Whether or not we're going to fit the 865 kit yet, I'm still in two minds about it, because at 57 brake horsepower the speed of this bike now is probably as fast as you want to go on the bike. You may need to start upgrading brakes and things like that if you go any quicker. It really is quick when you want to go, and if you hold it in the gear, before long it's like bouncing on the rev limiter and you're looking for the next gear straight away. Now, what has come to a lot of attention with us at the moment is how close these bikes are to the old generation Triumph air-cooled 865 motor. And what really sort of pointed out the design similarities, when I was looking at the stroke of the motors is exactly the same. And when you put the 865, which these motors are 865, the 865 big bore kit on, the bore and stroke are exactly the same as the Triumph. Now, the engine looks a lot smaller and the bike feels a lot lighter than the Triumph. The engine on the Triumph is quite heavy and bulky, and they haven't really put a lot of thought into making a smaller package like they have done with the Royal Enfield. The major difference on the Triumph motor, on the old one, is it's a double overhead cam, and it does make the top end of the bike heavier and bulkier. Triumph have now gone to a single cam system, the same as this, and it feels to me that Royal Enfield have robbed a bit of the old oil-cooled motor technology and a bit of the new water-cooled bike technology, and mixed and matched it into a new concept, but it's basically an old design. So what we've learned from those bikes, we've transferred onto these bikes, hence the similarity of the exhaust system. It basically works the same. We found that the extractor effect on this exhaust works just like it did on that exhaust. Now, on this system, we have in the centre section, it isn't just a pipe, we do have an absorption baffle in the centre, as well as an absorption baffle at the back. So it's remarkably quiet for what it is, for the flow that it's got. Because effectively a silencer starts here and goes all the way to the back here, even though the rear silencer is only this long. So if you keep your revs down, it's as quiet as stock. It's only when you start to wind on that you will get a noise coming out the back end, which is basically what people want, and it performs far better. But back to the cam. Like I say, we've shown the details, and like I say, we're going to show during this video bits of how it was done. Now, people are going to say, how did you change the valve spring caps without taking the head off? Well, basically what we did is we put an air line through an adapter into one of the plug holes, locked the motor up, and pressurised the cylinder at 40 psi. That allowed us to get the valve collets off and take the valve springs off and put the spacer washers on. Now, you've got to be careful with airlines. You've got to make sure the engine's locked, otherwise it'll spin without warning if you put pressure in. Don't use excessive pressure, 40 psi. If you don't want to use air pressure, you can just literally put the motor at the bottom dead centre and put some sort of 5 or 6 millimetre cord or string down the plug hole, then turn it up, and that will hold the valves in place. But you will need somebody to hold the engine on a bar gently against the valve springs to stop the motor turning down when you're pushing on it. So you can't really do that without an assistant. It's probably the safer way of doing it, but I find it fiddly. It's much easier to just put an airline in. But if you haven't got a regulated pressure supply or the adapter, a bit of string will do the job just as easy. The problem is getting the collets back in. I found it was very fiddly, and what you've got to be careful of is there's a lot of oil ways going down at the motor, and if you drop a collet down there, it'll end up in the sump. So you've got to be really careful. You cover everything up and have a magnet to hand to pick them up if you lose it. I used about 4 different methods for each different valve because of just access problems. I have now made a little compressor tool up. I'll use it if I do them again. But the tools I thought I would be able to use, you simply don't have the clearance to get in. and it was a matter of just wedging the valve springs down, and it didn't make a very good video because there was a lot of cursing and swearing and dropping of collets and things, but you'll get the gist if you watch the snippets of the way we did it. Like I say, most people are probably going to take the head off once we've done the next video, and we'll show the power increase of doing the porting. But again, that's a video to come. So thanks for watching. What has struck me as a bit of a funny thing is that S&S haven't produced any power information, and no information whatsoever on the kits. They don't seem to be doing anybody any favours, including themselves, trying to sell the parts, and why they haven't produced any estimated power gains or any videos. They produce videos on all the other parts that they supply, including the silencers, but they don't do a video on the engine parts. They probably think it's down to an expert to fit them, but they're being marketed as something for everybody's bike. So again, it's a bit of an odd one that it's been left to us to show what you can do with this bike, and what the downsides are and what the upsides are. But like I say, if you support us, we're quite happy to support you. But thanks for watching. Like I say, more videos soon, and keep riding safe. Thanks now. Bye.